Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Table so that we can discuss it. Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes carried. This is an appropriation ordinance that was funds, American Rescue Revenue Replacement Transfer and Appropriate funds from 814 County Reserve to 1,000 County General. What this is, it's an appropriation ordinance that was approved in 2022, and the money was approved, but the project was not completed, so the money was put in reserves, two reserves, the American Rescue Fund and the County General, and the money has already been approved, so this is just...
I second that.
Okay, I got a motion and second that we forward this on to the full court with a due pass. Is there any discussion?
Chair,
Yeah. Justice Carroll?
what you just stated in terms of the previous approval and the project, I didn't notice any of that in my packet. Did I overlook it?
It was approved in 2022 that this appropriation ordinance was approved in 2022, but the project wasn't completed until 23. So it couldn't be funded in 22. So this is just an appropriation to kind of, just to follow up from 2022 so that we can pay Mr. Reynolds.
What I'm saying, Mr. Chairman, is, did I overlook the documentation of what you just stated in my packet? Did I overlook the fact that you said this is an item that had received our attention previously?
You talking about a new packet? The new packet you got?
In the packet we got last week?
This is the same ordinance that was in there last week, item number 10.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any other, Justice?
You said that it wasn't completely paid for and that the money was moved to two accounts, or two accounts, line item. What were the accounts that they were?
Two reserve accounts, American Rescue Reserve Fund and the County Reserve, for that amount of money.
So when we last spoke at the committee meeting, for the new JPs that weren't here in 2022, you stated that there was some legislation that was approved to approve this prior to, and I believe that the curtail of the meeting, you said when we resumed today that you would have the documentation and the ordinances provided that show that the Quorum Court approved this particular transaction.
I've got them right here, it's about 10 of them.
So is it actually, man, let me go through this.
There were several different ordinances that were approved, but this is the two that didn't get funded.
10,000, transfer. Widowers, 300,000. Transfer, 5,200 to fund special projects. 67,000. American Rescue Funds.
There's several. I think there's another one behind there. There may not be. There's some I had clipped together. I can assure you they're all there. No money. There were a couple of them that were $200-something thousand.
This one here, do you have the attachments to this one?
This one here is $272,100.
That's this year. Okay, so I'm going through all of these. 600,000 or less.
This money is all in reserve now. It's just going to take it out of reserve. The funds are all in the reserve. These accounts are funded by this amount of money.
So I'm going through these and I'm trying to figure out which one is the one that's actually appropriated.
All of these are appropriations. These are 2022s.
Yeah, but they're all attached with invoices of where something was paid with it. There's nothing outlining or approving anything in the last transactions from, I'm sorry. There's nothing in here that I see that's approving the invoices from, what is it? 2 in November, 1 for the month previous, or the 1 in January. So I see these and I see what you're saying. I wish you could have got them to me earlier, but each one that I
just got
see.
them today, actually.
Yeah, but each one that I see has a corresponding invoice with it, with them approving whatever it was that was done. So my question is, nothing here approves the following invoices, but what I do see is a history of the invoices coming in and they're appropriating funds as the bill was created. And if that's a standard procedure, what's going on, that's fine, but there's nothing here that prior to approve the funding of this before the work was done. Unless I'm wrong, if it is one here that points it out, please let me know. You're the chairman of finance.
All I know is that these funds right here that was in the ordinance that was on the agenda last week are funds that are in the reserve.
I understand.
Both of them, and these are the ones that were appropriated last year.
What I'm asking you is, and I'll be very direct with my question. You stated that this expenditure was already approved. Everything in front of me does none of that. So what I'm asking you is, where is the actual appropriation ordinance that appropriated these funds before this bill was created or before some of these actual invoices have been processed? Because what I'm seeing is I'm looking at a court order here that authorizes or orders the county or the county clerk to appropriate funds, which she can't do. And I'm looking at another court order that is an emergency court order forcing her to pay bills that hasn't been appropriated.
I'm gonna address this to the judge and let the judge speak to it.
Mr. Franklin, number one, there's a contract in place for this job for the remodeling of the courthouse and the juvenile justice building. There's a contract in place in the TIPS program, which allowed this program to be for this to be done.
Tips and taps.
So, yeah, so it's a contract, okay? So with that, monies that we use to pay for these expenditures came from the American Rescue Plan and the reserves. So these are the monies that's being used. You see a court order, that court order was put in place because it was an emergency. The vendor had an emergency, needed the funds, and so we did that. Since the quorum court meeting was gonna be coming up, then we could go ahead and appropriate the money. So yes, the expenditure, the court order was done in order for the man to receive his check, to pay for services that already had been rendered. And that's why you see that. So that, no, you don't see that, but we will provide you with the contract so that you'll see why these expenditures are needed and these expenditures are there. And as you know, any federal monies, each year they have to be reappropriated. We did the same thing when we carried over the money, so you can check with the treasurer on that. Every time that we use federal money as an expenditure, when the year runs out, it has to be reappropriated the following year.
And I believe that's what all county expenditures, if you don't expend it within a year, it's expended. When the new budget comes out, it has to be reappropriated. But back to my fact, and I see where this is going. It hasn't been appropriated, and the emergency court order that was used, in fact, by Arkansas Annotated Code is not an emergency. That's not a question I got.
Let's go ahead.
Your comments are noted. Any other discussion?
Come on, let's go.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Carol.
So in the information that was provided, are we to understand that authorization work has been done, and the appropriation is not there prior to it?
The appropriation was not made in 2022. It was carried over in 23 when it was completed, and the money was put into reserve in the two funds. And now the work is completed, and the appropriation was follow up so that we can pay Mr. Reynolds.
Am I incorrect in that we cannot make bills or expenditures if money has not been appropriated? Is that correct? Is it illegal to do that?
Would you repeat your question?
Is it illegal to spend money prior to it being appropriated and approved by the quorum court?
That's what we're doing now. That's when we got another appropriation today. to approve it. The money's in reserve, we gotta approve it tonight to take it out of reserve to pay the bill. Are there any other discussions?
Has it already been paid, or any portion of it already been paid?
No. It's in reserve. This, and we gotta have this before we pay. That's why Mr. Reynolds is here tonight.
So this wasn't paid? They didn't pay that out?
It's filed. I don't know this thing.
Has it
I
been
would have to
paid?
look at all of those. I don't know, just
I think
offhand.
she said, no, do we need to ask the clerk to see if it was paid?
They were filed. I don't know. I told you this wasn't paid. This amount of money's not paid. It's in reserve.
So,
And that's his money. Judge has question. Is there any, or these funds have never been paid and their money's in reserve?
That is a balance that we owe Mr. Reynolds. We're asking the money to be appropriated out of the reserves and the American Rescue Plan, Fund 1006, so that we can continue, so we can pay for services rendered. This is nothing that we haven't done before, appropriating money for expenditures that need to be paid.
They were not paid in 22. The job was completed in 23. That's when we got to do this to legally pay them. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no?
no.
No. Call the roll, please.
I would like to add that we got a guy that has been holding bills since September that we hadn't paid and has done the work. So I think it would be a pretty sad day for this court to refuse a man that's done work and paid his employees for the work that was done, and he's sitting there holding bills and we're refusing to pay it.
Well,
Mr. Chairman.
let me.
Let's address it. Hey, we're calling for a roll call.
Would you let him speak?
Calling for a roll call vote.
Not our meeting.
I'd file a lien.
Mr. Chairman.
Just you call for the money.
It's about.
Sure it is. It's about getting him paid.
By show of raise of hand.
Mr. Chairman.
We had the vote. I need a raise of hands of who voted for it
Mr.
at this
Chair.
time. No, I've got a raise of hands of who voted for it right now. That voted for paying the ordinance. Right,
The work has been done, right?
Yes.
right, it's been done and we hadn't paid him.
We approved it in 22.
Right,
And we appropriated.
but he
money
didn't
in
finish it
22.
until
Right.
23.
We appropriated money in 22. We just
Right.
didn't appropriate it again. And the person is already done.
And the money's in reserve, the money's there, we just need to pay him.
I have a question too. It looked like you're being selective and you let that come.
The money, we're calling roll. I'm calling roll.
And you're letting
I'm
certain people
calling
speak
roll.
and denying other people to speak. Something's wrong about that.
You've spoken 2 times, Justice Carroll. Yes, it does. 2 times is enough. All right, how many's against it? How many's against paying Mr. Reynolds?
Whoa, don't use that term like that, don't do
How
that.
many's against paying the bill to Mr. Reynolds for the bill, the work he did in 2022 to 23?
Point of order.
I move to make a substitute motion. Nobody's voted yet.
Yeah, I voted.
Looked like
Let's
you
have a
had
roll
3
call,
votes, Mr.
Judge.
Chairman. You had 3 votes.
Let's have a roll call. The work's done and he's not been paid. God.
It's not about paying him. Ted, if you push this vote, it's gonna fail. And it doesn't have anything to do with not trying to pay Mr. Reynolds. You push it through, it's gonna fail. This has nothing to do with not trying to pay Mr. Reynolds.
Well, that's what it affects your deal.
My question is,
Just,
if people need clarity, I don't understand what the rush is to vote. I understand that we want to pay him he needs to be paid. But the fact is, as long as people have questions, I don't understand why you don't answer the question in order to give them clarity. It shouldn't matter how long it takes to clear it up so that you get the vote to pay the man.
I've addressed Justice Carroll twice, I've addressed
But-
Justice Franklin twice,
If
and I've
they have
addressed
another,
you.
if
What
they
else
have
do I
another
need to
question,
do?
okay.
I mean, I addressed you already. You want to speak some more? Okay, Justice McGatty. Let's have quiet, please, where we've got somebody speaking.
I personally don't have a problem with paying the man, here. But I do think that each one of us, if we have a question, the question needs to be answered. Now, I don't have a problem with us paying him. The man has done the work. He needs to be paid.
That's right. I don't have any problem with anybody speaking. You raise your hand or address me. Anyone else want to speak?
I have a question.
Justice Williams?
Personally, as a vendor, I know that man needs to be paid. But I heard that this is a common practice. So my question is, how common is this practice? And should we continue this, or should we find a space where we are today to say something about this practice and make sure we do the right thing by the ordinance and before we appropriate?
I don't really understand your question.
I do hear that we do that. We've done this before.
It has been done before for other county judges, it has been done, bills have come up, and you had to pay them, like, sort of like an emergency. It has been done
Yes,
before.
yes, I didn't understand your question, but yes, it
My
has.
question is this a good time to
But
address
it's
that?
Hold-
That's what my concern is. Today a good day to
Hold
address
on.
that?
Go ahead, state your question.
I mean, I'm just asking, is today a good day to address that need, Mr. Chairman, so that you will not have the confusion that's going on here today? Because people want to pay the gentleman, we know he needs to be paid, but we're looking at what we're saying is the appropriations in order, so that if this is a long-term practice here, I'm a new person, I want to come in with us saying, let's do whatever we need to do to clean it up.
That's right. The work has been done. The work carried over to 2023. Before he completed the work, the money was put into the two reserves in 2022, but we had by law, after he finished in 2023, to do a new appropriation. We did the appropriation in 2022, and it was approved. But he didn't finish the work in 22. So in 2023, the work was finished. By law, we have to do a new appropriation for 2023 after the work's completed to pay the bill. It's that simple.
We did that.
And we've done that. That's what this is about.
That's what we're voting on now. So we
Right.
appropriate the money we appropriated, it wasn't spent.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
One more
So-
time, Justice.
So for clarity's sake, and the one question I asked was if it had been appropriated previously, if it was previously approved, you stated in the meeting that you would bring proof of a prior ordinance approving this. And the ordinances that you brought does nothing to that effect. Secondly, you stated that this particular ordinance, none of these funds have been expenditured or appropriated prior to now, or none of these bills have been paid. But yet, part of it has been paid in looking at this general ledger report from the treasurer's office. So I'm getting conflicting stories. It hadn't been paid. It's looking like it has been paid. I have a court order here that's saying it's an emergency order to pay a bill, which by Arkansas code, this is not an emergency on behalf of the county to do an emergency court order to force a payment. So what I'm looking at right here is we have a bunch of misfeasance going on, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it to figure out what's what. If I can't explain it to my constituents, I can't explain it, I can't vote for it.
Okay,
So
just,
was it approved? Where's the paperwork for it? And we're not trying to hold it up like we're trying to keep money from a vendor. But what we're trying to figure out is the process of how this got to where it is and how did partial funds get dispersed under an emergency court order, which shouldn't have happened by state law. It's not an emergency.
the work was done, the work was completed. but it wasn't completed until 2023. It was appropriated in 2022. It was put into reserve into the two funds that were listed on the ordinance. And
Where's the
and this is-
appropriation?
The ordinance is right here with the money broken down.
That's this year.
That's this year, because it's about the money that was spent last year. I don't know what else to say, other than we owe him the money. The money's there in reserve, and all we're needing to do is doing this appropriation ordinance to back up the appropriation ordinance that was done in 2022 so that we can pay the bill. It's all his money. It's money that's due him, and it's that simple. So I don't know what else to say.
We're not gonna hold the vendor's money, but from where I see it, the way that this whole process is working is backwards. It's backwards. It's totally backwards. We create a bill, then we appropriate the funds. The policy is that we appropriate the funds before you have the work done or the bill is created. You don't create a bill, then come in for the money for it. It doesn't work that way. Now, I asked for an appropriation ordinance that happened prior to, and you stated there was, and you failed to bring one forward. So as a new JP who wasn't here last year, how do I corroborate that with you when there's nothing in front of me saying, hey, we previously approved this?
I showed you a bunch, about
Of
10
other ordinances
appropriation.
that had invoices
Okay,
attached to them.
I'm not
that
going to
paid
argue
those.
with you, Justice Franklin. It's either we need to pay the bill. It's all done. I've explained it 10 times. We need to pay the bill. So I need to, we have a roll call vote or what?
Yeah.
Justice,
I apologize for my lateness. I stood outside for 15 minutes. Keypad's not working. Mine not working, his not working, but anyway, we'll get that taken care of later.
We get keypads?
My pad, my code not working.
We get those?
let's don't talk across the table, please. Let him talk. Justice Adams has the floor.
I got one question, I guess I missed it, I've been trying to hear it, but I guess I missed it. All the work is completed.
Yes. It was completed, majority of it was completed in 2022. The rest of it was completed in 23 before we could pay. We appropriated the money in 22, but we put it in reserve because we couldn't pay him the money.
Point of order,
at
Mr.
that
Chairman.
time. I'm answering the question, Justice Carroll.
Point of order. I think it's so disrespectful for the judge to sit there with his telephone held up high where everybody in the room can see it while we're having this discussion. That just looks like that he's not in tune with what's going on.
Well,
That's disrespectful.
it may be, I don't know. But I'm listening to
You don't know what
Justice
respect
Adams.
is?
I'm just listening to Justice Adams. Go ahead, Justice Adams. What were you saying?
I was wanting to know that while we appropriated all the money for this, is all the work completed?
Yes, the work is completed.
So there's no.
It didn't complete until 2023.
I'm not asking about dates, just simply if we go ahead on and vote for this, everything has been completed.
Yes,
That's all. I never got that.
okay, yes, it is completed.
Yeah, those are invoices from the contractor that was in the packet of
Yeah,
stuff that needed to be paid.
You know, we can go ahead and pay them, but just going forward, just note that anybody that creates a bill prior to funds being appropriated, I don't care how much it is, you won't receive a yes vote from me. So we're gonna get the vendor paid, but I'm letting you know that this is gross misfeasance, and I'm not gonna support it again going forward. But we'll get
your
this vendor
comments
paid.
are well taken. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries.
You can roll call vote, Mr. Chairman. Everybody did vote.
We can call the roll, Secretary. Who,
Calling roll.
you're calling roll?
Yeah, I'll call. Roy A.G.,
He's absent.
Reginald Adams,
Yes.
Conley Bird,
Yes.
Alfred Carroll,
No.
Melanie Dumas,
Yes.
Justice Holcomb,
Yes,
Brenda Bishop Gaddy,
Yes.
Ted Harden,
Yes.
Cedric Jackson,
Yeah.
Patricia Royal Johnson,
Yes.
Reginald Johnson,
Yes.
Marguerite Williams.
Yes.
Okay. Passes no one.
How many?
12 yes. I'm sorry, 11.
Mine didn't vote. I don't get to vote as chair. So 11-1.
10-1.
Okay, 10-1, motion passes.
Told you I wasn't
We are adjourned.
Mr. Chair, that goes to now.
Told you I wasn't no
Full
finance.
Huh?
Told you I wasn't no
It goes to
finance.
full court.
Yes, we pass it on to the full court with a due pass. Thank y'all.
Welcome to the agenda for the Quorum Court meeting, Tuesday, February 21st, 2023, Jefferson County Courthouse. The time now is 5:45.
Excuse me, Judge, we need a new agenda down on these things, too. We have it.
Okay, you need, okay. Need another agenda down on that end. Okay. So that's all you don't have enough?
Just the agenda, Judge, that's all.
Just the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, he's going to get those. All right, we can proceed until we get those. Next, we'll have prayer, and I'll ask Justice Adams to give us prayer.
Bow your head. Heavenly Father, we come first of all giving you praise, glory, and thanking yourself for this and an opportunity just to be able to call on your holy and righteous name. Now, Lord, we ask you to just come into this meeting and allow us to do this county business. Touch every heart right now, that we make the right decisions, that we do what's right by the people. This is our prayer in the precious, powerful, and protected name of Jesus. We pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we'll have the roll call.
Adams.
Here.
Agee. Bird. Carroll.
Here.
Dumas. Franklin.
Here.
Gaddy. Hardin.
yes.
Holcomb.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Johnson Patricia.
Here.
Johnson Reginald.
Here.
Williams.
Okay. Next, we'll have the treasurer's report. Phoenicia Goodwin.
Good afternoon, Justices and Judge. How's
Good
everyone doing tonight? I am going to give you the January 2023 Treasurer's Report. The balance brought forward on January 1, we had a healthy fund balance of $20,921,567.31. We had revenue for the month of January totaling $11,981,847.32, with expenditures for the month of January $12,335,976.17, giving us an ending balance on January 31, $20,567,438.46.
Good deal.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Goodwin. Next, we'll have the reading and dispositions of the minutes.
Second.
The motion has been made and second. Any questions? All in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Carries. Next, we'll have the report of the committees. We'll be starting with the Public Safety Committee, and since Justice Agee is not here, Since Justice Agee is not here, Dr. Byrd, would you like to chair?
Six items.
I
Public,
have a question. I have a question.
yes.
In that we know that absence of the judge declaring an emergency, we cannot have, as justices, electronic meetings. But the county attorney is not bound by the same statute, is that correct? Or he is?
No, he's not bound by that, and he has COVID, and I don't think he want him here.
No, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Public Safety Committee met, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items on the agenda. All were passed to the full court with a due pass. That concludes the report, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Justice Byrd. Next, we'll have the Judicial Committee, Justice Melanie Dumas.
During the regular meeting, committee meeting, we had one item on that, that's not
Thank you, Justice Dumas. Next, we have Human Resource Committee, and that's Justice Danny Holcomb.
Yes, we had one item on the agenda, adopting procedures for Jefferson County Quorum Court for all regular and special meetings. We had a secondary motion to adopt the same procedures as 2022. Those are included in the packet that you received for this meeting, with just the date changed to 2023. That passed on to the full court.
Okay, thank you, Justice Holcomb. Next, we'll have Finance Committee, Justice Ted Harden.
Thank you, Judge. We had 8 items, Judge, that came to us from other committees, and we had 6 items that came to us direct. 1 item was tabled, and we addressed that tonight, and it was all 14 items were passed on to the full court with a recommendation of a due pass.
Okay, thank you, Justice Harden. Do we have any unfinished business? Do we have any comments or questions from the public on the business before us? Seeing that there's none. New business? Oh.
Is this the time I need to speak on something?
Yes, if you have something that you want to speak about on the...
Yeah, I have something I'd like to say. First of all, let me
would you please step up to the mic?
Yes.
And hold on just a second. I'm sorry. You have 3 minutes.
How many minutes do I get, sir?
3.
3, all right. It's fast. I'm gonna cut across the field.
Go ahead.
Let me introduce myself. First of all, how are you all doing? My name is David Holmes. I'm the proud pastor of Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. I have a great concern about the county roads that lead toward my church. The church has been standing for over 150 years. And I don't know if you all have traveled those roads, but I have a lot of members, and there are people who live down there, that the roads are horrible, as say. It is something that I have a great concern about, and since I am part of the people, and you all represent the people, I think what's important to me, I believe should be important to you. I mean, we can look at a lot of concerns. It can be a financial burden on people who may not be able to afford to fix a tire or to fix a rim or a front end alignment, or worse than that, we don't have street lights down there. And if you ever had to drive down there at night trying to make it back home safely from Bible study, say for instance, if you ever been in the military and you have a blackout drive, you can't see at all. It's beyond potholes out there. You miss one pothole and hit 2. You have patches of roads, and I was born and raised that way, so yes, the county would go down and they would patch it to try to allow people to pacify people. But I believe that if you should take a drive, that's all I'm saying. Take a drive down there. You have members who we have to really reroute to try to make it to the church. when you go past my church over there on McKinney. My church is located at 500 North McKinney. You go past the church, half of the road is out. So just imagine if you go down there and you don't know the road and you're driving 40. Not only can it be a financial burden, but you can lose your life when you hit it, driving the speed and it taunts you. How much more time do I have, sir?
56
Because,
seconds.
I mean, we need to act on it. And I understand,
56
I walked in when you all was talking about a man that rendered service. I won't comment on that. But I think if the funds is there, I thought I heard millions and millions of dollars being read out. And I think we can find somebody to get down there and just put a sense of urgency on this. I understand you have to go through.
Judge, I want to speak on that after him.
I thought you said something. Yes, sir.
Have you reported this to our county road department?
I believe it has been reported. I believe complaints have been going across the board. This is my first time ever attending a meeting, but I received the text and I just thought it was right because I am concerned about the people God has put up under my watch.
Hold on. One more question. Who's your JP in your area?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm fit to speak on that.
Well, you know, and I don't know if there's a date set for it. I just don't know. But I just wanted everyone to be aware that it is bad.
Okay.
And I know you know how you put a Band-Aid on a sore and it comes off?
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
what I believe that's been done for 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 years.
She asked first. Okay, thank you.
Let me.
Thank you, Reverend Holmes.
Right there, bro.
Stay right there.
Pastor Holmes,
Ma'am.
my name is Brenda Bishop Gaddis,
Yes, ma'am.
and I am the justice for District 13, which is your area.
Yes, ma'am.
I have talked about this area several times. I know what it's like. I've been down there. I haven't been since you've been the pastor there. But I know how bad it is. And I have spoken to, this is Mr. Bullock, right here. He's the supervisor over the road department. I've talked to him tonight. So isn't that right, Robinson? We gonna get something done down there. And we gonna get it done right.
That was the issue, that was part of last week's, discussion.
I'm sorry. Ms. Williams, Justice Allen, unless he wants to let you go.
Don't finish your statement.
That was our issue on the table last week, and appropriations were made for us to make sure we go and visit those roads. And you're talking about 13, I'm in 6, all the roads in 6. And I get more text messages and phone calls in my inbox on Facebook. I'm all over the place in these people's phone numbers and so forth. But this is 6, so I'm very concerned about our roads. And so we did say, yes, let's do something about these roads.
And for those people that called me today, I had 5 calls, 5. I want y'all to know that Justice Gaddis has been working on this for you all. I truly have. You all don't know it, but I've been working on this, and we're gonna get something done. I can't tell you when, but we're gonna get something done as soon as possible. Thank you.
Bro, Holmes, yes. I had the pleasure of traveling your way on Saturday or Sunday, no, Saturday. And I just want to know what road. I went down Earl Chatty.
Oh, no.
And
That's my
I got to go see Robin Brothers. I know exactly what you're saying, but you did not tell us what road.
Well, McKinney, the road is mainly is all 3. It's Earl Chatty, Horseshoe Lake, McKinney Road. But I travel Earl Chatty. I make a right on McKinney en route to my church. You have seriously, you have to literally stop.
Sure does.
To try to make it through that certain area. I'm not saying the whole road is messed up, but there are like 3 patches that really you have to, if Mr. Franklin traveled that road driving at his speed and he doesn't know the road, but he's assuming that the road is right, he may not make it home to his family. Right. And so it'll be a sad day in Pine Bluff after we've had this meeting. And some young person go and drive that road. All of us been young and we know how we do it.
That's right.
Some of us old and still do it. Is that right, Mr. Jackson? I'm not saying you do. But what I'm saying is that if a young person hit it and something happened, and it's on record, it's in the minutes, that let's do something about it. Let's don't talk about it, argue about it, but let's put it into action.
I would like to point out that in our committee meeting last week that we have new equipment on the ground and we're voting to put more people in that equipment to better serve the roads of this county. So we are trying to make strides, getting new equipment, getting more people on the ground to fix our roads, because we all know how
Amen.
the issues we have with our roads. I appreciate that.
I thank you, Justice Quorum.
You know what? It's been a good day.
I certainly appreciate the comments. And you touched on something about minutes. To Justice Gaddy's credit, and she has brought up the roads on that end of Jefferson County numerous times. And I'm not sure if many people are crossing that area, but a lot of promises have been made that those roads are going to get fixed. And those who have not been here before, I don't want you to think that this court has not been responsive to those requests and that your justice has not attempted to get things done. We've even heard that there was a schedule when roads were supposed to be done. We've not seen any of that. And so here we are at the 9th hour, and you all are not aware of some of the things that are going on, and we don't say everything that's going on in terms of the legality and the procedural nature of some things that's going on that there's questions about. But make no mistake about it, this Quorum Court is in tune to your request. Justice Gaddy is in tune. We have voted, we have been promised. You all have been promised. You're not the first group to come here about the roads on that end of Jefferson County. And so, in our discussions, I don't want it to appear that we're insensitive to your needs. But there are questions about why in the 9th hour we have to be pressured into doing something. The promises have been made all along, and we said, okay. So I appreciate the comment, and I would ask you to come back again in the next few months, and again in the next few months, if you don't see the kind of progress that you think ought to come from a meeting like this and the things that you shared with us.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? I don't even know who's speaking. Who's speaking?
This is Sister Albertine Mazik speaking.
Okay, well, ma'am, come forward if you wish to speak.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes also.
I don't need 3 minutes. I just wanted to know, sir, are you talking about after you fix the road, you said come back in a couple of months?
Well,
We might not be even living, people are driving down this highway the way it is.
May I speak, Judge? She's asking me that question. May I speak?
I thought you asked. You said
I did, but I just wanted to give you permission so I wouldn't be said I was out of one. Sir?
Go ahead.
I was being facetious when I said 2 months, but what I am saying is, as Chancellor Davis used to say about the university, when parents drop their kids off and come back in 4 years expecting to have a degree, it don't work that way. So your one visit today may not be the only time you need to come down here and say to us what you need and how long before the bread gonna be done. So that's what I'm saying.
this might be my first time, but I have a representative over here. And I appreciate you, Sister Gabby. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the business before us? Yes, sir. 3 minutes.
I own Reynolds Construction Company, and a lot of the discussion that was held here earlier, I'm ignorant when it comes to how the county works. One of the invoices that goes back to September, and I have found out, was told that because a computer system down the hall went down, that invoice got lost. And it had to be certified by that office before anybody could move, and for whatever reason, it just got lost. Perhaps I should have been here as these folks have been before now. But I appreciate what you're about to do for us. I've got about 244,000 reasons to be here. And that may not be an emergency in your part of the world, but it is mine.
Amen.
And we have worked so hard to make this building and these grounds something that this county can be proud of. Judge Robinson shared his dream with me, and we have worked as hard as we know how to make every. I remember what this office right here looked like before we started, don't you? I mean, we have transformed this building into something that the Jefferson County can be proud of. And we can have visitors come here and they can see what we have done and what's here and be proud of it. This building is far more efficient than it ever was. We now have insulated windows that are not held together by rusty nails anymore. We've done a lot of things, and this property it's good enough that Jackson County is calling me, wanting me to come up there and see their property and see what we can do for them. But we're thrilled to have been trusted by the county judge and all those around him to make this happen. And I hope you're proud of it. I hope it's something that you can point to your constituents, that this was done under your jurisdiction. This was done with you sitting on this court, because it's worthy of being recognized as something that should have been done. Our floors, had holes and just all kinds of things that are just so much better than they ever were. And I appreciate each one of you for the confidence that you have expressed in my company and me and my people for making this happen. Thank you very much.
I have
Thank
something
you.
to say. I have something. Mr. Reynolds,
Yes, ma'am.
speaking on behalf of the Quorum's Court, the job has been well done. I have taken a look at it myself. It looks good, it really does. And piggybacking a little bit about that Pastor Cheryl and y'all, we gonna get something done, because I don't wanna get out of myself, but I will. We gonna get something done, because that's been a long time coming. And the calls I've received today, I've been getting a lot of calls. It didn't just start coming. It's been coming, and I've been working on it. I've spoken with the judge, and I've also spoken to Mr. Bull. And they have promised me that we was gonna get this, we gonna get it done. What past that? We gonna get it done.
Yes, ma'am.
We gonna get it done. I can't tell you, like I said, I can't tell you when, but I hope it's real soon. Because I don't wanna drive back down there to Antioch and tear my vehicle up. I don't wanna do that. Because if I do, I'm gonna be real mad. Real upset. That's what I had to say.
I just wanna go on record to say, Mr. Reynolds, you mentioned that the county clerk's office had some issues with lost check. We never stopped processing claims, so I'm not sure where that information came from, but we never stopped processing claims. So I just want to correct what our office, what I know the county clerk office to have done. So I'm not sure where that came from.
All I was told is that your computer system, that was down for a month.
It was in fact down, but we processed every claim. We processed every claim, so I can assure you, nothing was not paid. If we received it, we processed it.
I'm glad you
Okay.
clarified that.
Thank you. If there's no more comments from the public, we'll move on to new business.
Judge, I move we suspend the rules, have the reading of the ordinances by title only, and move to third reading where applicable.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. Any questions? All in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like signs. Madam Secretary.
Item 1, an emergency ordinance. Is it working? Green. Oh, you want mine?
Yeah, hold on just a second. Okay, clear. Mine's jammed up too.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Item 1, an emergency ordinance establishing and adopting procedures for the Jefferson County Quorum Court at all regular and special meetings of the Quorum Court of Jefferson County, Arkansas for year 2023 and 2024.
One correction, that's not an emergency, it's just a regular ordinance. Mine wouldn't say emergency.
Sir, could
Just say it's
That's the one I got. That's what mine said. We got this one today? Yep, I just received it today. Okay. I just scratched it out. It's fine. Okay. So an ordinance establishing and adopting procedures for the Jefferson County Quorum Court at all regular and special meetings of the Quorum Court of Jefferson County, Arkansas for years 2023 and 2024.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
Any questions? All,
yes.
Let me try to figure it out. Okay, go ahead now. Ms. Gaines, turn your off.
Okay, we're good now. Judge, the Judicial Committee met several times during the month of February under the chairman, Justice Dumas. There was legislation that was deliberated on, crafted, and perfected. There was a judicial meeting held last Wednesday where that particular legislation was read on the final draft and it was passed on to the full Quorum Court for a due pass. In light of it being left off of this particular agenda for the full Quorum Court meeting, at this particular time, I would like to do a substitute motion to strike this piece of legislation that is here and swap it out with the legislation of the new procedural ordinance that was crafted by the Judicial Committee on the agenda with the pass to pass the full Quorum Court.
Second.
I haven't had time to review that document.
Me either.
I haven't received it. I mean, I got it.
I can't vote for something I hadn't looked at.
After Ms. Johnson brought it to my office, but up until she brought it into my office, and this was after you guys had moved this to the full court. So, to my understanding, I think the county attorney has just had an opportunity to look at it. So, you know, what we have until we can view that, I believe we need to move forward with what we have, and then, because nobody from my office has had anything from any meeting. Nobody. So we're moving forward with something that nobody's seen except for bringing it to my office, and then the county attorney hadn't even had time to review it. So.
Judge, did we not approve to continue with 2022?
To continue with 2020, that's what's on the agenda.
Okay.
May I?
Question, Judge, if we voted on that tonight and that other piece of legislation came before next month, would it overrule what we voted tonight to incorporate new rules? Or
Yes,
don't know. Huh?
yes, it would.
Okay.
But Justices, let's stick to what we have on the agenda. And at a later date, if you come through my office, then we can do that. What's your point, Justice Carroll?
You cannot debate.
Carol,
You cannot debate.
You're exactly right.
may I be recognized?
Ms. Franklin.
I hear everything you said, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. Everyone at this table are legislators. You're in the executive part of the government. The judicial committee met several times. They put hard work, blood, sweat, tears, thought, nights of countless work into this particular ordinance. When we brought it to you, it was brought to you to put on the judicial committee's agenda for last week. You disregarded it. We held the meeting anyway because we knew you weren't going to put it on the agenda. We notified the press. We notified all of the members of the judicial committee that there was going to be a meeting. The meeting was held. Every JP here, as far as my knowledge, obtained a copy of the new procedural ordinance. Your office received a copy. You signed for it. The county attorney's office received a copy. He signed for it. We asked you, and you responded saying that Justice Dumas brought it by your office, and you told her, unless she's lying, that you were going to put it on the full quorum court's agenda. Both copies, vote them up or down, whichever may be the case, that's what you told her.
At a later date, I did not say this particular meeting.
Well, here's where we're
Justice Franklin, this is what, I chair the meeting. I'm in control of this meeting.
I'm still speaking, recognize. You can't take it away when I'm talking.
Yes.
Procedurally, you can't take it away. I'm talking.
Well, we don't have any procedures right now, so.
Let me finish. We're operating under the 2022 procedures.
Okay.
They're still in effect until we adopt a new one.
Okay.
There's no reason to even adopt this one, so let me finish my message. At this particular point, everyone had the opportunity to attend the Judicial Committee's meeting. We crafted this legislation. We've passed it on to the full quorum court. You've deliberately held it off the agenda, as you have done with countless other elected officials out in the crowd controlling the agenda.
Justice Franklin, you're out of order. You're out of order.
This particular procedural
Justice
ordinance
Franklin.
will proceed
Justice
forward.
Franklin.
The motion has been made, it has been
Justice
seconded,
Franklin.
and when discussion ends, we will vote on it, and it will move forward.
You can vote it up or vote it down.
We will vote it up. Let's move forward.
Let's move forward. You can either vote it up or vote it down. Go ahead, Justice Dumas.
Two of the JPs said they did not receive it at all. And in light of that fact, I would like to make a substitute motion that we continue operating under there, but not what is said on here where we operate from 2023 to 2024. My motion is that we continue operating under the 2022 until everybody has an opportunity to read it. Because if the vote was not informed for us for it to be moved to judicial committee.
I second that.
What is the actual motion?
To continue with 22.
Operating under the 2022 until this one and or that one gets voted up or down.
Okay, there's been a motion.
Not that we wrote it to 2023 to 2024.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. There's been a motion and a second, Justice Franklin.
Nobody seconded yet.
I didn't have a second.
He just seconded. It was a motion and a second.
And now there's discussion.
We have discussion.
Here's what I suggest, and this will be appeasable for everybody. We're not going to adopt the rules from last year. We're not going forward. We're already operating under the 2022 rules until we adopt a new procedure ordinance. Now, what I am willing to compromise to do is probably, as well as a bunch of other JPs here, is that we can go ahead and put this one on the full quorum court's agenda tonight in place of the one that's here. And we can vote on it at the next quorum court meeting. We will make sure that every JP is provided an electronic copy of the procedure ordinance. But what I'm not prepared to do is to go back to the committee level, because we've been at committee level, and every step and every leap and every bound, there has been some type of obstacle in the way. So what exactly is happening by the motion? Let's clarify the motion.
Okay, it's not to go back to committee. once everybody has an opportunity to read it, it should go to full court. That was what was asked, that it go to full court.
Justice,
Speak to the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Speak to the motion. I had the unfortunate responsibility of sending out that document. I electronically sent it to the person that was absent last week. I electronically sent it to them. You can see it on my computer that they got it. We handed out hand copies to everybody that was here. The committee which you chair, invited everyone to the meeting as we indicated in the full quorum court meeting back in January. And to play this game of substitute motion, we suggest that we need another substitute motion, go back to the other substitute motion. Because everything has been done within the committee's power for those who wanted to read it, to get it.
Still have to be on the agenda, we have to read it, I've never seen it, I'd like to see it before I vote on it. And I did not receive it from you, everything I've got on my computer is there. I
You
have
got
not seen
hand
it.
copies, so.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay.
Did not.
Okay, a motion has been made and second. Can we call the question?
What is the motion?
She just repeated the motion.
The motion that we continue operating under there, so there's no need to vote for it because we just continue operating under the old one, under the 2022, until this one and or the other one.
We do need to
This
vote.
one
No, we
also-
gotta have
We have to vote.
clarification.
We do need to
We
vote
do
on
need to
it.
vote.
We vote on this motion.
May I
Yes.
speak to the
Yeah.
motion, Mr. Chairman? May I speak to the motion?
But this one needs to go on there and then allow the quorum court as a whole to vote on it.
May I speak to the motion, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, Justice Johnson.
So my question is, we have went back and forth, so at the next meeting, will both of these, will they both be on the agenda for the meeting? So we can vote them up and down, instead of going back and forth, okay, we got this one today, that one tomorrow, will they both be there?
The easiest thing to do, let's vote for what's on the docket. If you want to vote it up
No,
or vote it down.
no.
Vote it up or vote it down. So that we can move on.
No. Listen, for
Speak
clarification,
to the motion.
Okay, you can speak to the motion, then we're gonna move on.
As I speak to the motion, in all due respect, Madam Chairman, I would ask that motion be defeated, reverting us back to the original substitute motion.
Okay, we'll call for we'll vote by a show of hands.
Like you said, we substituted a substitute.
Yeah,
Well,
everybody, a second.
We got a motion and a second
On what?
to yours,
Yours.
to yours,
Continue under 2022.
to continue.
Until this one goes.
Right.
Okay,
no, we need, all right, let me just try to clarify.
We got to vote on
Okay.
it, we got to vote.
And if it's confusing
listen,
me.
listen, we have a motion and a second on the table on that substitute motion. Again, we're gonna move forward, we're gonna vote it up or vote it down. Now, what's your pleasure?
What's the motion?
She just,
So is this adopting this ordinance?
No.
Okay.
Staying with 2022.
Under the 2022, the one we had in 2022, until this is resolved and we have the ordinance on the agenda.
No, I need you
Okay.
to make one
We'll
small
call for-
correction to that motion. It needs to be placed on the agenda.
Justice, you can't put
It needs to
words in
be.
her mouth. Justice,
I'm
you're out of
asking.
order.
I'm asking.
You're out of order.
I'm asking. It's a
She's already
question.
made the motion.
No, she's already made the motion second.
We got to vote on it.
You're out of
Yeah,
order.
we just vote them all down and we'll start back over.
Well,
Because that's not,
all in favor respond by saying
we
aye.
don't have a date. It's stuck.
Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Adams,
No.
Agee, Byrd,
Yes.
Pearl,
No.
Dumas, Franklin,
No.
Gaddy,
No.
Harding,
Yes.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Patricia Johnson, Reginald Johnson,
No.
Williams,
Present.
That's a no. We voted on it.
That's a no.
so she abstained. So that's
Yeah,
no.
that's a no.
7 no's and 4 yes and 2 absent.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay,
Move
so
on to-
we're back
No, we're back in my motion.
Substitute motion, which was to add the new one to the agenda. Okay. Okay, so I had Franklin with the motion. Yeah, okay, so this is the one to add the new procedure to the, agenda, for tonight's agenda. Adams?
Wait, let me, if we got one quick question. Yeah.
Justice, refer to the county attorney. Terry, go ahead.
Unless this new rules and procedure is on the agenda, maybe violating the open meetings law.
Well,
What did he say? I'm sorry.
violating,
Say that again, Terry.
not on the agenda.
Under freedom of information, open meetings law, the agenda has to be provided to the press well in advance of the actual meeting, and so you can't add items to an agenda at the meeting without the appropriate notice, and that's the case.
They were notified.
The press has a copy.
Well, the county attorney, the press was notified, and this particular agenda item is on the agenda. We're just swapping out the actual procedural ordinance. But I tell you what, and you know, for time's sake, for us to get out of here, we've been in here a while, here's what I will do. I will amend my motion, and I'll amend it to the fact that we're striking the present one on the agenda. We're swapping it out with the new one that came from the Judicial Committee, and we will vote to put this on the Quorum Court's agenda, and we will delay the voting on passing it until the next full court agenda meeting. Now that I can do, because at that point we know it's going to be on the agenda, it's been voted on by the full Quorum Court, and so at that point it's just a 2-week delay in this passage. That I will amend my motion to if that appeases you.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead.
It's my opinion that the state law says you have to adopt rules of procedure every 2 years. That was to be done in January. We've not done that. I don't think that automatically means the old ones just continue. I don't think we right now have any properly adopted rules of procedure. I don't.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Justice has suggested that we extend the existing procedure until it's changed by whatever new justices come up with through proper channels. I think was a good one and a good solution. I think it accomplishes what you all may be trying to do, which is create new procedures. But right now, we can't present it at this meeting because it hasn't been part of the agenda.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Justice Carroll.
Yes, sir. I differ with the attorney in that he suggests that items cannot be added to the agenda. If that was the case, you could not amend the item on the agenda. Because when you amend, you change. That interpretation is incorrect. I don't believe that there's a legal document or an opinion that substantiates that position. I think that's just him talking. The other thing is that his office has been provided a copy. As the county judge's attorney, he has a duty to have read it. COVID or no COVID, he has a duty to have read it and not appear here tonight on the computer as if he doesn't know anything about it. The other thing is this item was presented in January. It was presented in January. Let's go back to December when it was drafted and proposed in January. Had the Quorum Court been given the right and an opportunity to put forth its responsibilities to draft this legislation, we wouldn't have had this miscarriage of procedure that's going on. So if you go back and start talking about what should have, could have, would have happened, if the Quorum Court had been respected as a legislative body, if we had followed the law 1414-904 and given the Quorum Court an opportunity to do its job, then we wouldn't be at this point. And so again, I think your interpretation of what can be added to the agenda is absolutely incorrect. I don't know of any law that says that. And we also adopted in the
previous years' procedures, that Robert's Rules of Order would govern whatever comes up that's not in the Quorum Court Procedural Guide. And I am altogether 100% sure Robert's Rules of Order allows us to add items to the agenda if a majority of the justices agree with its being added. Thank you, sir.
Judge.
Go ahead, Terry.
Robert's Rules of Order would only apply if the court had adopted any rules at all. That's what the state law says. Every 2 years, this body needs to adopt rules of procedure. Our rules of procedure say, here's how we're going to conduct our meetings. And if Robert's Rules of Order is needed, we refer to it. Right now, you all have not approved anything. There are no approved procedures. That's why I keep questioning whether you can move forward without adopting some procedures.
May I address the county attorney?
Back on the substitute motion.
May I address the county attorney?
Justice Hardy.
Judge, I'm getting real confused and convoluted with all this. Justice Dumas made the motion, and I seconded that we continue with the 2022 policies and procedures. And was it ever voted on? Was it voted down, or was it just discussed?
But according to the county attorney, we couldn't do it anyway.
Because to me, it just seems like all this confusion, we need to do that just for the time being, and then discuss it.
Either way it goes, I'm sorry.
All right.
Either way it goes, we have no rules and procedures in place.
May I address the county attorney? May I address the county attorney?
Go ahead. That's not automatic. I mean, you have to adopt it. Go ahead, Justice Adam.
If I'm getting this right with Ms. Dumas, it says 2023, 2024 on our document. That's why she made the motion to go back and adopt what we had.
Not adopted.
Not adopted, but to
continue operating under.
Now, my question is this. The question was asked and never given an answer. We also want what we have already adopted for everybody to read, to be on the agenda, and no one have said that would happen. That's why it's the confusion. Mm-hmm. Now, if we can get it on the agenda, we can go ahead and move on to 22, and we can finish our meeting tonight. But no one has said that you was gonna place it on the agenda. We cool for next month. But no one said we passing over that question. Now, we get that on the agenda. If voted up, I voted down. We need it on the agenda so we can move on tonight.
Thank you, Justice Adam. I said, if anybody was listening, adopt what we have tonight so that we'll have rules in place, and then it'll be put on the agenda, put on whatever y'all came up with, put on the agenda for next month. Well, either this is either one or two things.
If we adopt it as it's written, if we adopt that as it's written, it says adopted for 2023 through 20.
That's the ordinance. You can always. How many times have y'all came back and amended something or did something or made improvements to it or whatever?
He said he couldn't do it. I thought that kind of couldn't do it.
No, we're talking about adopting this in its original form and then come back.
Judge, I hate to say this because I know I'm going to be quoted, but point of order, call the previous question.
This is. I'm gonna tell y'all this. Either we adopt the ordinance so we can have some procedures in place. We have to do that. We were supposed to do it in January. It says shall, and we didn't do it. Now here it is, February. Still haven't adopted any procedural rules?
Just one quick question for the county attorney. County Attorney Nguyen.
Yes.
Hey, okay, so quick question. Basically what you're saying is we can't continue under the 2022 procedural ordinance. We have to adopt a new one. So either we adopt the one from last year or we adopt the one going forward. Now you're saying that we can't introduce the new one because it's not on the agenda, but basically there is a discussion on the agenda where we can substitute and make whatever changes we need possible to the particular ordinance that's here. So if we substitute an ordinance, it's no difference than substituting anything else. So what I'm asking you right now is your opinion is saying we can't do it. I need you to state the Arkansas annotated code to what you're referring to tell us that we can't do what we're doing.
I mean, glad to, I can't do it tonight, but I'm glad you.
Listen.
By the way, let me correct one thing. Justice Carroll said, he said I was the judge's attorney. I'm not the judge's attorney. I'm the advisory civil attorney in Jefferson County. So I'm not taking sides in this. I'm trying to give you my analysis. I've not been able to read these new ordinances that you all are procedures that you all are talking about. They were just delivered to me, I believe, yesterday afternoon.
So
We're gonna move on.
We need.
We're gonna move on. Either that or I'm gonna adjourn this meeting. Dr. Byrd.
Okay, first of all, I did not get the change that was proposed. But it makes sense to me that if the judge commits to bring that forward next month for our consideration, that we go ahead and approve this tonight, and we can always vote that one that y'all put together up or down next month. And it would supersede, if we voted up next month, it would supersede what we do tonight.
You gonna put it on the agenda?
He just told us that he was gonna.
he did that before.
Justices, rather than hold this meeting up, can we move forward with the other
No.
ordinances?
This one here is a motion on the floor.
I'll tell you what, if we're not
just go
gonna
ahead
move
and vote
forward,
on it. We just vote
this is
on
what's
it.
gonna happen. We don't have any procedures in place.
There's a motion.
This meeting is adjourned.
It works for us. Works for us.
Don't work.
And he's still not paid.